Comedian Jon Stewart ripping into Republican senators on Wednesday after they abruptly halted a bipartisan bill that would expand health care access for military veterans exposed to toxic burn pits. The former host of The Daily Show, who now hosts The Problem with Jon Stewart on Apple TV Plus, has lobbied for the bill. He joins us live now to discuss this. Jon, thanks so much for coming on. We do appreciate that. I know you're in your car. You have a press conference coming up, I believe, in D.C. at 10:30. What is your message going to be, sir?
The message is going to be that this has to get done. This is abject cruelty. To vote against this bill, it's already passed. We passed it 84-16. There was just a minor technical fix that had to be done on it. 84-16, bipartisan. And then yesterday, 42 Republicans decided to vote against moving the amended version forward. But the amendment was only one sentence, and it was not a material amendment. And they've created distractions and hypocrisy. I mean, Senator Rick Scott of Florida just yesterday tweeted out, "I'm here at the USO, so honored to provide anything for our troops, and for their heroism and courage." And then a few minutes later, he went on the Senate floor and denied them health care and benefits for the toxic exposures they received in the wars.
Right.
And it's just infuriating to see people say they support the troops. They don't support the troops. They support the war machine. They'll spend trillions of dollars on these wars, but they will not spend the money on the consequences of those wars to the individuals who fought in them.
If I could just jump in, really quickly here, Jon, I just wanted for the viewers to understand what the PACT Act essentially putting in more, enabling additional health care coverage for more than 3 million veterans that were exposed to toxic burn pits. This would be in the Vietnam era, obviously Agent Orange as well. But I did want to point out, just to push back a little bit on this, so the Republicans, when you say what you said, they do not support veterans. The Republicans push back saying there is unrelated spending within this.
It's not. It's just not true. What they're saying is they don't like that it's mandatory as opposed to discretionary. There isn't unrelated spending to it. They're saying there could be if there wasn't oversight, but that's what the Senate's job is. The bill itself is incredibly detailed and prescriptive about what it's for. It's about treating and preventing the different conditions that veterans are coming home with, including cancers and chronic bronchiolitis and all these other issues from their exposures in Iraq and Afghanistan. And to push back on what they're saying, what if this creates a slush fund, right? So are you familiar with something called the OCO, the Overseas Contingency Operations Fund?
Fairly, yes.
So every year, $50 billion, $60 billion, $70 billion is added to what's called the OCO on top of the $600 billion, $700 billion, $800 billion that goes to the Defense Department. That OCO fund is actually a slush fund, $60 to $70 billion every year, no oversight, no guardrails. And every one of those Republicans that voted against health care for veterans voted for the slush fund for the war. They don't support the troops. They support the war machine. And that's got to stop. The value in the U.S. military isn't in the toys. It's not in the hardware. It's not in the tanks. It's in the men and women. And until they start supporting them in the manner that they purport to online, they are hypocrites.
It is Senator Toomey, really quickly, it is Senator Toomey that said he wouldn't support the bill because it would create $400 billion in unrelated spending. He calls it a budgetary gimmick. He also says if you can go ahead and fix this, they're ready to pass it. But you say you're not buying it.
First of all, that's just a lie. There isn't $400 billion in unrelated spending. The CBO score for the entire bill is estimated at $400 billion. But that's for the presumptive health care and benefits and a retooling of the VA so that they can handle the volume. Okay. That's got nothing to do with unrelated spending. What he's saying is if they use mandatory spending on it, What's to stop them from using it on something else?
Right.
It's a completely unrelated issue, and it's nonsense. And the other thing I would point out is they all voted for it on June 16th when it passed the Senate. Nothing in any of the funding has changed from the bill that they overwhelmingly passed. Senator Toomey is obstructing this, and he's whipped up his caucus to obstruct it for no discernible reason.
John, I got to wrap you up. I apologize because, as you're well aware, we're running low on time. I just want to really quickly, I know you're going to have your conference there at 10:30 a.m. I'll give you about 20 seconds if you can. Wrap that up for me. What do you expect out of today? What's going to be your announcement there in D.C.?
Today is going to be about, hopefully, the news media hearing the hurt, despair, and disbelief from the veteran community. All of the major VSOs will be there. They will be expressing their anger. And our position is these senators should not be able to leave this session. They should not be able to go home on vacation until this is fixed, until this is passed, and until we live up to the promise that we made to the veterans. They lived up to their promise to us. They fought for this country and they fought for us. And we have to defend them now. All
right. That is actor comedian Jon Stewart, also veterans advocate, joining us live again at 10:30 a.m. His press conference coming up there at 10:30 there at the Capitol. John, thank you so much
for taking the time, sir.
Anytime. Good to see you.
Hey, guys, it's Rob Carson. I want to tell you about the Patriot Gold Group. But first, let me tell you that the S&P has already lost $8.2 trillion in 2022. Did you know that? Peak inflation is not even hit despite the Fed rate hikes on groceries, on gas. You know it as well as I do. Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs are warning of another 20% drop. Inflation is winning in a knockout right now. The Fed is going to raise rates again at the end of July. Meanwhile, Goldman, Wells Fargo, and Bloomberg are all forecasting gold to surpass all-time highs. If you want to invest in gold, call 888-936-2373 now. Call the Patriot Gold Group today and ask about their no-fee-for-life IRA. Sounds like a good deal, don't it? Here's the number, 888-936-2373, 888-936-2373 for the Patriot Gold Group.